It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we are on a mission. And our mission really is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hard working entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you would call to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Dr. Mosongo. He's in the building. He'll be talking about while working harder doesn't mean that you have more alignment. I thought something different. But first, let me say, hello, Dr. Mosongo. How are you doing?
I am doing great, Che. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you for all the viewers who are tuning in. You have a lot of choices and you choose to be with us. So thank you so much for being here. Dr. Masongo, before we get started, let me address the elephant in the room. A number of folks might be saying, wait a minute, Shay, if I work harder, then I should have a better life. Here's the question I have for you. Why do people believe that working harder will fix their business?
Yes. This is actually a good topic for discussion here, Che. But first of all, thank you for having me on your show. Listen, this is what's happening. At a certain level, it's no longer a revenue problem. It's actually a design problem. So there are three silent drifts. One, you have the identity drift. So the business now requires a version of you that no longer fits. And then the second drift is decision drift, which means that the growth decisions are now become reactive, right? They are no longer intentional. And then the third one is meaning drift, which is profit is rising, but fulfillment is declining. So that's really what it is there, Shay.
You know, as you was talking, that's spot on, by the way. There's some entrepreneurs who are making more money, but they're feeling more stress. I know that might be some of you out there. Why would I feel more
Yeah.
stress if I'm making more money? Help me understand that, please.
Yes. So, you see, Shay, if I may here, just to tell you a story here. So, for years, I've chased life that was really a steady climb, another degree, another title, another project, another business venture. So, from the outside, it looked like progress, a ladder, rising round by round, higher and higher. But standing there, I realized how flimsy that ladder was, because progress without purpose is just height without ground beneath it. So it cannot bear the weight of the life storm. Huh? So in that moment, I find myself asking, had all these ranks, degree, title, venture brought me any closer to the life I truly wanted? So the question for me shifted. It was no longer what makes me happy, but how should I live? So life, I realized then that is not meant to be climbed like a ladder. It's really meant to be rooted like a tree, actually, huh? Drawing nourishment from the soil, branching, and so on. And then a tree accepts season. You have spring, all those flowers coming up. You have summer, abundance, autumn, letting go, and then winter that then renewable. But I find that for many small business owners, the picture of the good life is not a tree, but instead is luxury, the house, the travel, the visible trophy of success. So money, influence, and education, they seem like universal keys, opening every door. But really, but where the tree seeks depth, we are not always finding that. You can spend years accumulating wealth and access only to realize that we never really asked what those open doors were meant to lead. I think that's really the root of the problem. And I think when we start, we often start with the wrong question. What makes me happy? It sounds actually noble, huh? But in reality, the question means it's a question of means, not ends. It assumes happiness is the finish line, huh? And all the remaining is just to engineer the fastest way to get there. But if you start there, then you have already made the assumption that life highest calling is simply to feel good. So that's really a very reduced version there. But then I already knew that the deeper question is not what makes me happy, but how should I live? So the business you run today is really the product of a single bold leap. It's not. It's the result of a thousand of ordinary decisions that together, both build your character and your company. I think everything really comes from there. So the real question, Che, is that is not how to feel good in a moment, but how to cultivate life and business that generate last fulfillment.
That's spot on. And there's some people, as you were talking, like, I love what he's saying, Shay. He's making sense. I love the analogy of the tree. And there's some folks who are meeting you for the very first time. So I like to slow down for a moment because they're like, Shay,
Yeah,
I didn't get a chance to read Dr. Masugu's resume. Someone else is in the kitchen right now cooking dinner and like, I like what I'm hearing, but who is this guy? I didn't get a chance to go Google him. So
yes,
can we take a
yes, yes,
moment and slow down for a second and tell them,
yes,
who are you and what's the backstory that led you to being
yes,
so passionate about what you're doing now?
yes, yes, absolutely. So the idea is really of going beyond profit, but more towards meaning. So every entrepreneur knows this emptiness, sometimes that can follow achievement. So the goal is met, the numbers adding up, yet joy is missing. Why is that? You see, profit sustains survival, but it cannot nourish the soul, and meaning runs deeper. And so, really, there are questions that we need to ask. Did what I do, that does it matter today? Who did it really show up for? That this moment fit the larger story that I want for my life, and so on. So you begin now to peel back your goals again and again. Grow revenue then becomes freedom. Expanding market share becomes influence. Recognition becomes legacy. So what begins as a what almost always conceal a why. So when you begin to cultivate, that cultivation is not about discovering this at once. It's about returning to it, peeling back layer again as season changes, and letting new roots to be revealed. So let me give you this story about a gentleman called Samuel Reyes. So
Okay.
Samuel, he had a logistic company. So single delivery van. In the early years, survival was all that mattered. He will cover payroll, he do his thing, and so on. But over time, the business expanded. New contract, more employees, and eventually he developed a reputation. He was reliable and so on. But by his mid 40s, he had reached every financial target he once dreamed of. Today, the company is generating like 3 million in annual revenue and so on. By the numbers, it was thriving. The company was profitable, stable, respected, but inside, Samuel felt hollow. Now, the number looks fine, he said, but when I got home at night, I kept asking myself, is this it? Because growth had given him security, but not joy, you see. Recognition from industry peer brought prestige, but not peace. The very success that he really longed for felt strangely empty. So that's really what it is. And the turning point for him came while he was at a conference. He heard this speaker describing burnout, not full burnout, but the quiet fading of purpose, the erosion of why. So those things, as he told me, he said really struck a chord with him. He realized at that time that he had built a business without ever asking what story it was meant to tell. Profit was keeping the door open, but it was not keeping his soul alive. So he began to peel back layer by layer his goal, then grow revenue became freedom to invest in his community. Expanding market share became influence to modern ethical practices, which was an industry that was known to be too ethical. And recognition shifted from personal pride to legacy. What value would remain after it? So he did not change everything overnight, I must say, but he began to design his business differently. Weekly manager meeting that no longer ended with spreadsheet alone. They included conversation about how they work, reflected the company valued and so on. So the company stayed profitable, but Samuel noticed a deeper shift. For the first time, he was not chasing the next target. He was living the story he wanted his life to tell. So that's really what I'm talking about.
I love it. And what do you enjoy most about what you're doing now? I love the story, perfect analogy. What do you enjoy most about what you're doing these days?
What I enjoyed the most during these days is really to see. So you see, Shay, I believe that God has put us on this earth with our resources and talent, not only for our own flourishing, but also to put at the service of others. So what I'm currently doing is I'm helping small business owners for them because I've realized many of them when they reach that revenue is solid, but they have this persistent feeling of stagnation. So I work with them, trying to help them regain that clarity and helping them redesign their business so that they could focus on what is really driving revenue. And then finally, for them to develop the life that that business was meant to support.
Yeah, you worked in corporate leadership and you work with entrepreneurship. What is the difference from the corporate leader that's trying to lead that and get alignment versus the entrepreneur who's doing a lot of the work themselves, their day to day, they're making changes? Is there a difference between the two? The leadership in corporate America, which you've been featured in Forbes and other magazines, and the leader as an entrepreneur. What's the difference between the two? I believe they both want the same thing. They want freedom, they want happiness. But what's the difference in leadership style, if there is a difference?
Well, the answer is yes and no. In a sense that in a corporate, obviously, you are enjoying tremendous resources. If we need to have to develop a program in terms of putting in place some pricing strategy, you have a whole team there working, the sales team, the marketing team, and so on. It takes time for them to implement, but you have all those resources, which you do not have, as an entrepreneur, because you are much smaller. But however, as a leader, that is true, whether it's in corporate or as a small business, you have the ability of shaping the organization by your own leadership. So I would venture to say that the types of leadership in both cases that is very effective is one that is based on human connection, because then once you build that human connection, whether it's with your team members or whether it's with your employee, you're able then to move them. You're able to move them. You're able to shape a vision that then can become a shared vision. So that's really what I would say there. But there is one aspect there in entrepreneurship that you don't find in the corporate, is that now you are the decision maker, you are the energizing ship, you are the marketing fellow and so on, particularly as you're building the organization. But as the organization is growing, then you need to learn now to delegate those activities so it can help you then strategize and then having that vision on exactly what you would like to build.
Spot on, man. I love it. And for the person that's off track right now and they listen to this conversation, like, Shay, I'm an entrepreneur, and I realize I'm out of alignment. What is one step that Dr. Masuga would recommend that I can take today to start me on the right path? What would you recommend that person does?
Mm. Well, the step that you can take today is really twofold. Before you make any decision, you have to ask yourself, is this something that's going to take me towards the life that I would like to take? You see, I think quite often we forget to imagine our future self, and quite often that connection is not there. So what I would say that first of all, the five whys. So take any goal, whether it's a grow revenue, hiring a manager, or launch a product. Ask yourself why. Why five times? Because each answer will peel a layer until you reach really the real reason. The other one I would say, Shay, is that audit your value. Write your top trend values in one column, and then yesterday main stack in another. So you have your value, yesterday tasks, and then you draw line where they connect. When there is no connection, then you have to ask yourself, can I stop this? Can I delegate? Can I redesign this? And so on. And then finally, I would say the personhood exercise. So you have to imagine your business as a person. Give it a trait, voice, habit, even quirks. Then ask: does this person embody my highest ideals, or have they drifted? What would I change? So those are some of the things that I think tomorrow we should ask to do.
I love it. And if any final, let me ask you. Well, I like to ask the question often that you had a lot of mentors along this journey of life. You read so many books, you've been to so much training, so much education, so much experience. But if you had to step back and say, Shay, this is one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given along this journey. What's one piece of advice you've been given from any mentors, and how has it helped you?
Yeah. The biggest advice that I've received is really, as you are building your business, consistency is important. So consistency, like if you're looking for prospect, be consistent. Every day, 8 o'clock, you make your calls. Not once a week, not once a month, but consistently. So you have to build those routines. So which means that we have to learn to segment our time and religiously apply it. So I try to do that over the years, but I have to confess, sometimes I derail. But then I get back. But so that consistent is step by step. We are not here making a sprint. You are here, in a marathon, step by step by step by step. And as you maintain it, the results at the end of the line.
It sounds so easy, but it's not. And you talk about consistency. Why do people
Yeah,
struggle with consistency? I mean, you probably heard before, consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. And having said
yeah.
that, what do most people struggle with most? Consistency. Why do they struggle with it?
Well, I think we are struggling with it because the number one, we are human beings. So like it's like going for a walk every day. There are some days you just don't feel like doing it. So it helps. That's why it helps sometimes to have some other people who are somewhat holding you accountable. We can exchange some ideas. So that keeps you going. Yeah. But obviously, even athletes, there are some times where they just don't feel like it. But then they get up and then go. They have other people cheering them up. So all those all that environment is also very important. So that's why you have to hang around people who can cheer you up, who can stimulate you, who can challenge you. And then when they could raise the question, hey, did you call so and so, or did you follow up with so and so? So all of that, it helps you mentally to keep going. That's what I found.
Said so well. What does success look like for you these days? What does it feel like for you?
Well, success for me is really, it feels like, well, I think in a way I've been blessed, and I've been very lucky, to tell you the truth, Shay. And then I'm thankful. I thank God and my family for the support, because today I'm working with a great small business owner, great entrepreneurs. I have some great collaborator. I've written a book 2 years ago that was a bestseller, Be a Leader of Significance. I have a second book coming up. So I'm continuing to build, and I feel fulfilled. I feel fulfilled because I've been able to really do something that's giving me a lot of energy that I can do even if they were not paying me, so to speak. I mean, I still need to be paid for my work, but once I'm immersed into it, I'm in that of zone of genius, and I could keep going, and I gain tremendous pleasure doing that. So that's really on the business side a success for me. On the family side, success for me, frankly, is I have six grandchildren, so I would like to share with them through my behavior, what I do, and so on. So hopefully they can pick up a few things there, and for me to be able to have touched them in some way. So So that's really what it is.
I love it. As we come down the home stretch, two-part question. Number one, what type of clients is your firm looking to work with these days, if any? And number two, how can folks connect with you? How can they reach out to you? How can they stay in this conversation? What website? What should they do?
Yes, Shay. I'm working right now with so small business owners. Those are the people in the revenue of actually it's ranges. It's a revenue ranging from 2 to 10 million. Occasionally, I work with people who are even in the 500,000 to help. So those are the people there. They are mostly like product based, but my activity is agnostic, so I can deal with anybody. So those are the people there. I'm not working with a solopreneur. I like working with people who have established like product based type of business. So that's what I'm doing. And then your second question, how to reach me? Well, they could reach me through my website, mosongomoukwa.coach. I have a number of resources there. They can look at that there. They can also get in touch with me through LinkedIn, so they could connect with me there, and then we can keep the conversation going. Yes.
Well, let me say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it. Can't wait to have you back again soon.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shay, for the opportunity, and it was a great conversation. Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Without you, we don't have a show. So I never get tired of reminding you every night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, no matter what's going on in your life, that you're amazing, you're incredible, and that you're watching now. And I believe for you, your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. That being said, my name is Shay Brown. I'm out. Dr. Mosongo. Peace, everybody. We'll see you on the other side. God bless.